I was scrolling through Twitter looking for interesting cases of donation behavior. I was trying to figure out, what do I want to research for the next few years? And I remember seeing on Twitter a really interesting case of consumer donations made in the wake of the 2016 US election. After Donald Trump and Mike Pence were elected to the US president and vice presidential offices, a lot of consumers started donating to Planned Parenthood, but they were donating in a really interesting way. Over 80,000 people made donations to Planned Parenthood in Mike Pence's name, using his real Indiana address. So Mike Pence was receiving thousands and thousands of thank you letters for his support of Planned Parenthood. And I remember taking this to my advisors, Kirk Christofferson and Miranda Good, who are now my co-authors on this paper, and I showed them this case of consumers making donations in a really aggressive way, in a way intended to make somebody upset. And both of them had published in the pro-social or donation behavior literature before, and they looked at me and said, "We've never seen anything like this. Let's dig into it." There's lots of research in the donation literature about consumers donating for altruistic or selfish reasons, and nothing about wanting to punish others. So we wanted to really understand, why do consumers do this, how do they feel during this process, and how might organizations leverage these sorts of new motivations to capture new donors that they couldn't otherwise get using traditional venues. One of the main findings of our paper is that wrongdoing that consumers want to punish has to be volitional in some sense. You need to find a wrongdoer who has done something on purpose. And so if you're in that situation as an organization, then you have a case where consumers actually want to engage in punishment behavior. Consumers don't want to punish people who haven't done anything wrong or have done things wrong on accident, and they feel really bad about it. But consumers love punishing people who have done a bad thing and chosen to do that bad thing. And this is a perfect example of retributive philanthropy. In a recent Valentine's Day promotion, the Toronto Zoo let consumers make donations to the zoo, and in exchange, they could name a cockroach after their ex, feed it to a snake, and then send their ex a certificate saying that they did so. And an important thing that nonprofits can take away from our paper is that the set of donors that they can capture with different advertising campaigns is not a fixed pie. In fact, we find in one of our studies that including a retributive option for donation increases the total number of donors who are willing to actually give money to charity. In other words, if a nonprofit organization includes a retributive option for donations, it can capture more donors who would not have donated otherwise if not for the retributive option.